The biggest award. We've got Player of the Year.
We do.
So let's see the nominees.
Player of the Year. Knight. Faker. Peanut. Keen. Caps. Bin. Zeka. Keria. Chovy.
There we go, Player of the Year, contentious one. I'm just going to say it again for people at home. 70% panel, 30% community. I think you need to think about the things that happen when people vote for things and when panel fights for things specifically and what keels over. What do you think the ideal answer is for Player of the Year, and what are your criteria?
I think for me personally, I think it's just overall greatness in terms of what you bring to the position. I think for me, there's two that stand out in Chovy and Bin in terms of always raising the bar, being the best player in their position, and just being so damn dangerous throughout the entire year. Like Bin, MSI, the Gen G best of 5, he was a demon. I think even in the best of 5 against T1 too, he was a goddamn demon.
Yeah.
These are players that when you see their nameplate, you are scared as shit. And that was the case the entire year.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Chovy this year. Like, I thought that the level of play he was on was just crazy, specifically in playoffs, in LCK, in spring. It just felt like he was the final boss of every game. Like, even if his team was all inting, he was just taking over every single game. So I thought the way that he played, that was the best League of Legends I've ever seen. Watching the game, I've never seen somebody play at that level. Even though it was domestic, I still value it really heavily because it is LCK. And yeah, I just really liked the way he played overall. I think the 80 meta was insane for him. Corki, Tristana, these types of champions being the mainstays mid lane. Thought he was the best in the world at that. So yeah, I just was a huge fan of his play this year. I think he was the best player.
I'm also a BLG Andy, actually. It's crazy because you also saw, the arc he has had and how the 369 rivalry and then him coming out on top. Also the fact that he went above and beyond outside of the game to make everyone a fan of what he did, and then being the type of top laner he is and making it to that MSI final and that Worlds final,
he's just cool.
Yeah,
he's so cool.
Yeah, I voted
it's
for
epic.
Chovy. I think this guy was just
It's epic.
a cut above every else game mid laner.
Yeah.
But shall we reveal it? Who is the Player of the Year?
Yamato,
Yamato?
Kind of nervous.
final award.
Are you?
I'm very
Yamato,
nervous.
you better be careful what you pull out of here right now. I'm just telling you.
It's the 5-time, baby. It's Mr. Faker himself.
Oh man, I think we have a message from Faker as
We
well.
do.
안녕하세요. T1의 미드라이너 페이커 이상준입니다. 오늘 리그 어워즈 올해 선수상 받게 됐다고 들었는데 이번에 또 초대의 수상인 만큼 굉장히 의미가 있는 것 같고 앞으로도 더 열심히 해보겠습니다. 감사합니다.
It's so cool. He sent
Yeah,
a
it's so
video.
nice Faker sent a video in.
That's amazing.
What do we think?
I can see why he was voted
Yeah.
that. I think that when he had his carry moments, his clutch moments, I mean, it was just an epic showing. It was something where everyone felt kind of in that series watching it, even the mood of the arena in finals, what I'm talking about, is people thought oh man, is BLG just going to win? The games that BLG won were extremely stompy, and then he came through in such clutch moments, and I think that this is what's sticking in everyone's mind. They just remember that Silas play, they remember the Galio play,
Yeah.
They're that was something where I was damn, he is just the GOAT. He just really
so
is the
amazing.
GOAT.
It's so crazy because I remember on the desk we talked about the Silas play particularly, and we brought up the talking point of the play on Ruler the year before.
Yep.
Because you have to take into account the moment in which these things are happening. This isn't happening in a week 5 of a regular season, right? This is happening in the knockout round of Worlds, nay, the semi-final or the finals of the World Championship. And I feel for me, he really he took even on a different level in that regard, because now you can never count him out, because it's also different circumstances than last year where it was the wrist injury into T1 without him, and then this year into where people said, well, he's not really the key when it comes to coming into the World Championships, about champion pool and about laning phase and all that. And then he just turns it on. And I think I can see why people would vote Faker, even though I can see the cases for the others as well. Because it isn't just about this year. You cannot see Faker just in the context of this year. You can't. You have to see him in the context of everything else.
I think the key thing, like that, what the naysayers might argue, right, is just that throughout the entire year we had, of course, an AD carry meta. It was very, very obvious, like the AD carry meta around mid lane. He was suffering. There was a lot of Tristana Ws that looked like Malphite ultimates, right? And like there was a lot of moments that were like very, very shocking, and you know, something that we didn't expect, especially because we started off very well in spring. Like the regular season in spring looked good. I think spring was solid, but I understand the argument for, because the most memorable, most impactful moments were, of course, like in that game 4. Like that was such a crucial window where the clutches came out, because 2 flashes were coming off cooldown. There was a plant. That was the moment to execute, because it was right at the border of Smolder reaching stacks. And just having a player where when you're at the World Championship, you see so many players, so many teams crumble. It's like tier list, it's like in terms of how the challenges you face at the World Championship, they're so damn unique, and it's so beautiful that the experience that Faker carries just speaks for itself in the moments that matter the most at the end of the year.
Yeah, makes sense. You ain't mad at it, are you?
No, I mean, I think, like, even though I did pick Chovy and I would have probably had been second, I can understand why people pick Faker. And I think one thing that's important to note also is, in 2022 World Finals, he didn't have the clutch performances. And in the last 2 years, it feels like he's really added that to his game, where maybe he's not on the same level as consistently as he was before. But in terms of like him being able to deliver when it matters, it feels like now he just feels the moment more, and he's able to just deliver in those moments, which is another layer that he's added onto his game. So it's like he's went through so many different iterations of greatness, where in the beginning of his career, he was just the best player by far, you know? Yeah. And now he's turned into somebody who isn't the best player by far anymore, but he's the one that is the most clutch in the game. And I think that that's actually cool to see the transition in terms of like his greatness.